As a creative freelancer or solopreneur, is it ever okay to do work for free? I know this can be a pretty contentious topic for a lot of creatives. We often get asked to do work that we're maybe not going to get paid for, or do work in the exchange for exposure. My question to you is it ever okay to do free work for people? So my name is Aura McKay, and I am the host for Coaching for Creatives. This is a weekly live broadcast that happens in my Facebook group and then gets shared to my YouTube community. I am the founder of Business of Creativity, and I am committed to bridging that gap between your creative brilliance and running a successful creative freelance business. So let me ask you, what do you think? Is it ever okay for a creative person to do work for free? And if it is okay, under what circumstances? So one of the reasons why I chose this particular topic is that in my mastermind group that I host every week, one of the spotlight sessions was about doing contra work. So not exactly free work, but the idea of doing your creative services in exchange for something of value. So in contra, for something else of value. And in this case, it can kind of feel like you're doing the work, quote unquote, for free. There's no dollars or cash value being exchanged, but rather the promise of something of opposite value being exchanged. So kind of like a barter system, but not exactly. So have you ever heard of doing work for contra? Do you personally have any experience with a contra agreement, and what's that been like for you? I personally, when I'm trying to answer this question about should we ever do work for free? I think that there is a time when it's possible to say yes. And I think that that time is when you are perfectly willing to donate your services, when you believe in a cause, in a business, in a value system to such a level that you're willing to make a contribution of your own creative services or your own creative genius. Sometimes it's worthwhile to let the recipient know exactly what that value that they are receiving is. So what I mean by that is, personally, I believe that in most cases, if you are going to do something for free, to help the recipient understand the value of what they're getting, often you can include an invoice that says, hey, here's the value of the services that I'm donating to you. A lot of photographers get asked to donate images or works to things like silent auctions. A lot of graphic designers get asked to contribute to nonprofit events or nonprofit organizations. There's all kinds of opportunities where we as service providers get asked to contribute our brilliance for free. So when do you say yes? If you're watching this live or on the replay, please put something in the comments and let me know. Have you ever done work for free? How did it work out? Was it a good decision or a bad decision according to your business? So that's where I want to take my second point today, which is that it may not be part of your specific business model to do work for free. You may not have it within your business plan to be having a percentage of your time and effort, energy being donated for free out there in the world. And that's totally fine. You can do that on your personal time, but it might not be part of your business. Your business may be open to providing donations in kind. So this is where the word exposure gets thrown around, where if you give us some of your creative services, we're going to get you in front of an audience. The only time exposure is really valuable is if you're getting in front of your ideal prospects or your ideal referral partner for your ideal prospects. And in order to be able to be clear about whether or not you can say yes to those kinds of opportunities, you really need to understand, who do I serve in my business? Who is it that I most want to be of value to? Who is my ideal prospect or ideal client? And will this opportunity get me in front of that ideal client in a way that could lead to getting hired? So the second part of, should I do it for free or for exposure? First part is, are these my people? Is this the kinds of people that I have been trying to get in front of, that matter to me, that are going to be the kinds of people that are going to hire me? And then the second piece is, once you're in front of them, then what are you going to do? Then what are you going to do once you're in front of them? So if you don't already have a strategy in place for how you're going to take advantage of that exposure, of how you're going to measure and listen for the results from that exposure, then doing it for free, you might not actually get the benefit of the exposure if you can't leverage it. So before you say yes, have a strategy in place for, okay, if I get this exposure, how am I going to connect to the people that see this message? What is the next step? What is the journey that I'm going to be taking those people on to take them from first getting to know me and being introduced to me through this exposure opportunity to becoming paid clients? And if you don't have that journey mapped out, and I would even suggest to you tested, then I would say no to exposure. If you don't already have a strategy for how you're going to take advantage of that exposure, then I think the answer is no. So what kinds of strategies can you use to take advantage of the potential of getting exposure to your ideal clients? Well, one of the strategies is that you can have a very clear and specific call to action that you only use in that exposure opportunity. So for instance, that would be having a unique URL or address for your landing page for your offer, or have a unique way of getting a hold of you. Sometimes back in the olden days, people used to use like specific phone numbers so that they could track, oh, was it this exposure activity or was it this exposure activity? So having a way to track and measure, are people responding to that? So having something unique in your call to action, a unique page, a unique download, a unique phone number, some specific way for being able to track that activity so that you know whether it's working or not. I'm seeing some great comments that are coming up, so I'm going to have a look at those and read some of those out for you. So Sue Sparlin, yes, you have worked for free when you've got to work with someone you consider to be a mentor. Yeah, so there is some value on occasion if you get to work under one of your idols or icons. Usually I've paid for that privilege. So usually if there's someone who I look up to creatively, I'm going to pay for the privilege of being coached or mentored or in a workshop with them, because often I get a better, more clear reciprocal relationship when that's already laid out. I find that sometimes doing work for free in the hopes of being able to get some value from a mentor doesn't always pan out the way that I think it's going to. Yeah, it is awkward when friends keep asking you to work for free. So the final thing we're going to talk about in Coaching for Creatives today is, how do you say no with grace? Yes, you want to planning to leverage the offer of exposure. So if you don't have a strategy, don't go for the exposure. Yeah, awesome. And Jay Terry says, pro bono for charity can be of benefit to a creative. Yeah, absolutely. If they want to feed their soul. Yeah, so at the beginning, Jay, I was speaking specifically, like sometimes there are things that we want to just contribute our creative skills and talents and voice to because we care deeply about it, and we want to contribute and offer what we can without any reciprocation. Like it truly is a gift and a generosity. And my suggestion is that have your business framework, have that already planned out so that you understand what are the boundaries of the available time and energy that I have to contribute for free to things that I am aligned with and feel really connected to. Jay also says, I've worked for service-to-service exchanges, such as handling all the promo content for a large radio station in exchange for 3 months worth of radio spots and the related voice work to create my ads. No money was exchanged, but there was equal value provided by both parties. Fantastic. And I would also ask, though, is it equal value? Because sometimes what happens is, for instance, the value of providing all the promo content for the large radio station might have been, let's say, $10,000 worth of value. Whereas 3 months worth of radio spots and the related work to create the value might have only been $8,000 worth of value. So sometimes it's not dollar for dollar value back and forth that you're trading. That would be something that you would negotiate specifically. The key thing, though, is that when you're negotiating this, if you have clarity on your own business model and what counts as a win for your business and what actually is valuable in your business, then you will be in a much better place to negotiate value from a free or exposure exchange deal. Quiva Creatives says, I don't work for free, but when I have offered my services selectively, I ensure that I'm including an invoice to showing exactly what it usually costs. Whoop, whoop. Exactly, exactly. So oftentimes part of what happens when we're doing an exchange of our services for something for free is that the person receiving it doesn't really appreciate it. It's that old adage where we're told the more that people pay, the more they pay attention. So sometimes there's sort of an attitude of, oh, I'm getting it for free, it's not worth anything. So your strategy, Quiva Creatives, your strategy of being able to say, hey, here's an invoice that demonstrates the value of what I'm actually providing you, can help those people that you selectively choose to work with for free understand the value of what they're receiving and be better referral partners in the future, so that they're referring you to other people who can afford your services, who will also appreciate that same level of value. Because sometimes what happens is when we are trading our services for contra, or when we are doing it for in exchange for exposure, or when we're doing it for free, is that we think, oh, I'm going to get referrals because I've done such a good job. But then if those people don't understand the real value of your services, they may not be referring good referrals to you. So you want to make sure that people understand at what level you are positioned in the marketplace so that the referrals they give you are great referrals. Yeah, fantastic. Yes, Tanya. Hey, Tanya. Thanks for being here live, everyone. Tanya says it's called volunteering. So I have so many things to say about this. Times as a photographer taking photos of local celebrities in order for magazines to sell copies. It's always been pitched like, ooh, we're the ones being done the favor, but it is a minefield to navigate in a world where everyone wants things to be free. So should a business be expected to volunteer their services? Very good question. There are situations where both sides can benefit. This is still Tanya Harrison. I will say that I have learned a lot by volunteering my time, but I've also learned when to appreciate when not to give my services away. Yes, I love this conversation too. Thank you so much. Rena Little offers bartering is a taxable income. So that is a really great point, is to remember that when you're trading services back and forth, if you're getting something in exchange for that, you may need to record that in your book so that it can be taxable. So it's not free, literally or figuratively. What? Yes, excellent, excellent. So gang, because so many people are asking us to do things for free, and then there's the question of should we, let's look at how do we say no. So the question of should businesses be doing some things for free? I believe that good corporate citizens are always contributing to their community in some way. Sometimes that's through free services being donated to the community, but sometimes it's in other ways that you can support your community without having to donate your services. So I don't think there's a should businesses be volunteering, but I do believe that there's a should about being a good corporate citizen and being a good community member as a business. But then how do you say no? Well, one of the ways that you can say no is you can truthfully, if you have created a framework for your business and a business model, you can say, you know what, I've already reached the limit of the amount of time and money and energy that I allocate to donate each year. Please check back with me again next year. Or I'll put you on my list for consideration for donating services to next year. You can also choose in advance, strategically, who do you want to support? Who would be a good aligned fit for you where you could donate your services in a way that's going to make a huge difference for the people receiving it and also serve you and your business. So if you decide strategically in advance, who do you want to partner with in order to be able to contribute some of your services and volunteer, then a good way to say no to those other opportunities is to say, thank you so much for the opportunity. It sounds like an incredible cause and a great experience. Unfortunately, I've already selected who I'm going to be contributing this year, and I'm happy to put you on the list for next year. Or my business has chosen to support XYZ cause, and we are really proud to align ourselves with that. I wish you the best of luck. Your opportunity sounds great. So when you have already strategically chosen, it's easier to say no. Being really clear about where your limits are on your time and energy, it becomes easier to say, no, thank you for this opportunity. Right now, all of my time and energy is being focused on generating cash flow for my business. I will totally be open to looking at it again in the future. You can also say, yep, that sounds like a great opportunity. Please send me detailed information about who the audience is and how you're connecting with them, because that will give you a really good idea about whether or not you're going to be getting in front of the right people. So gang, this has been a really awesome conversation so far, and I see that there is a bunch of you that are still online live, and as always, I am happy to answer any questions about today's topic on when, if any time, is it a good time to do work for free? Can you say yes to free work? So any questions, any additional comments, please go ahead and put them in the comments down below. And I always come back and check them out and answer any of your questions. If you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and put your questions in there as well. This is something that comes up again and again for creative freelancers and solopreneurs. It comes up for pretty much every entrepreneur, especially if you are good at what you do and you're excited about it and you talk about it a lot. Sometimes people think they're doing you a great favor by giving you an opportunity to get published or get exposure. And then you can kindly educate them and help them understand, thank you so much for thinking of me and for wanting to support me. I really appreciate it. This particular opportunity doesn't align with my business model. However, something I would like to do is, and then you can help them understand how to refer you to the next best opportunity. Yes. All right, gang. I am going to sign off for today. As mentioned, if you have more comments or questions, please put them in the comment box. I'm happy to answer them in the future. You are very welcome for this conversation. I'm so glad you joined me live. I'm Ora McKay. I am the founder of Business of Creativity. Please join me next week for Coaching for Creatives live here in the Business of Creativity community at 2 p.m. Pacific. Thanks so much, gang. Have a fantastic day.